Right off the top, breaking news out of Capitol Hill. The Senate just voted to confirm Tulsi Gabbard as Director of National Intelligence. Let's take a listen. Looks like we don't have that sound, but we do have CBS News congressional reporter Taurean Small, who's live on Capitol Hill. We know Gabbard is one of Trump's most embattled cabinet picks. So, Taurean, what does this signal exactly?
Yeah, it signals that Republicans are in lockstep when it comes to placating President Trump. We've seen previously with some of the more controversial picks like Pete Hegseth that Republicans were willing to break the party line in order to, quote unquote, vote with their conscience. As many has said before, this time around there's been an intense pressure campaign from those in Trump's orbit to get Republicans in line for the rest of these nominees. As we saw here, Lisa Murkowski, Susan Collins, those are two normally on the fence Republicans who ultimately sided with the party to push Gabbard across the finish line. Notably, though, former Majority Leader Mitch McConnell is the one defector from the party who decided he just couldn't vote for Gabbard this time. It doesn't matter, though, as she, as you just said, was confirmed and she's on her way to the Department of National Intelligence.
Okay, Taurean, we also know that a procedural vote to advance RFK's nomination is expected. What do we think is going to come out from that?
Yeah, it's funny because Republicans are looking to fast track as many nominees and cabinet picks as possible. Now we're in the process known as hurry up and wait. Republicans have about 30 hours until they could finally vote for RFK Jr. That's because Democrats can invoke and utilize to the fullest of the rule a debate procedure that allows them 30 hours. So that means, I don't know how to do the math, but sometime tomorrow, probably late evening, is when we'll see a vote for RFK.
Yeah, I don't know how to do the math either, Taurean, because journalists are just not good at math. But we're going to talk about budget right now, which also has something to do with math. House leadership just released their budget blueprint while the Senate Budget Committee is marking up its budget today. So how are these plans expected to be different from each other?
Yeah, significantly different. On the Senate side, we know that because they released this last week, their outline or their blueprint includes two bills. And notably absent from that is a measure that would tee up increasing the debt ceiling. In the House Republicans version, it's one bill, one big, beautiful bill, as Republicans have said, taking a part of or a page out of Donald Trump's book. They want one bill that includes that measure. That would be around $4 trillion that they're looking at to increase the debt ceiling. That would account for about $4 trillion, around $4.5 trillion to account for an extension of Trump's 2016 tax cuts. They're also looking at $1.5 trillion in spending cuts across the board over the next 10 years to offset that. On the Senate side, though, it's all self-contained. So they're looking at any new spending would be offset by cuts that Lindsey Graham, who is the Senate Budget Committee chair, is authorizing to corresponding committees in their respective budgets. One other thing, though, as it relates to this budget battle, this is all internal among Republicans. So House Speaker Johnson said that anything that comes out of the Senate will be a non-starter because he can't find consensus among his 218 members to support that. So he's asking Senate Republicans to follow their lead. Senate Republicans, Lindsey Graham, I talked to him today. He said while he respects Johnson, he respectfully also disagrees, and he's asking him to listen to Tom Homan, the border czar, who's asking for immediate funding, more money for the border to fulfill some of Donald Trump's campaign promises sooner than later. So that budget battle is ongoing and continue. The deadline, though, I should mention, is March 14th. That's when something has to be passed in order to avoid a government shutdown, Luca.
Yeah, clock is ticking. Taurean, right now the House Oversight Committee is looking at government fraud and waste, and along with the role Doge is playing in trying to root out all of that. Elon Musk has posted a lot about fraud and waste, but provided very little detail. Did Doge give any details on what was discovered?
Not necessarily. They've been talking in broad strokes about some things that they found. Notably, and this was something that Elon had to walk back, they mentioned the fact that $50 million went to Gaza for condoms. A report showed that that just wasn't the case, so Elon Musk, during a press conference at the White House yesterday, said that he won't always get things correct. He says he'll walk back, gladly be transparent about walking back anything that he has wrong. But this is what Democrats are asking for. They're saying, be completely transparent with what you're saying. These facts that you're throwing out should be backed up with line items in previous budgets that they just haven't found yet. What's happening in this hearing, though, is Democrats also questioning the legality of some of these wide-reaching actions, executive actions coming out of the president's office. Again, it is Congress who holds the purse. Republicans are saying they support this, so they would likely codify any changes made or actions made by the president into law, likely through this budget reconciliation process. But Democrats are saying, let the courts handle this. They're supporting the mini litigation that's coming out of this because they believe that what's happening right now is pretty unconstitutional.
Taurean Small, once again, thank you for your time today.